One took us on a train, and they were going to load us in a boxcar. But the commander, the captain with us, and he said, "We're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to treat us just like a captain of the German army is treated." And believe it or not, they put us on a regular train. And we got to Stalag Luft 1 up at Barth, Germany, out in the Baltic Sea. And it was really cold when we got up there. It was raining, turned into ice, but you couldn't put your hand up to get the ice off your ears because the dogs would get you. So we went there, and there were only 250 when we got there. And there were 3 barracks. And in our barracks, there was one restroom, so to speak, with one thing, one water hole, one water fountain, so to speak. And at night, they had a conga line up. We got locked up about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So then in the morning, they locked that room down, and you had to go outside. And it was all wood.
Thinking back about this experience, and I don't know if you've told your story a lot, but I mean, to me, when I first talked to you on the phone, I thought, I have one gentleman that I interviewed a few weeks ago in Colorado who was shot down. He is a P-47 pilot.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote a book, By the Grace of God, which I've been reading, and it's an amazing book of his capture after 12 days. But he wasn't a prisoner of war for 18 months, and what he went through. At what point does it seem hopeless? I mean, is there a point during that 18 months that it seems hopeless? Do you have any communication outside of there? You probably didn't, I mean.
Well, we had communication all right, because we had radio, got radios. There were some people who were forced labor there. They were from Italy around, and we had somebody knew German or whatever, and paid them cigarettes and got radios.
This is a little off the subject, but did you ever watch Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah.
It was nothing like that, right?
Well, yeah, it was an all-officers camp, okay? And we ran it most of the time ourselves, fixed it up, built a theater out of Red Cross.
You did?
Yeah, out of Red Cross boxes it came. The food came in Red Cross boxes, wood boxes, and made pews out of that. And then we started a garden, but we were using that because we were digging tunnels and put the dirt in the garden. And we put whatever was left from eating, we put in there. And it did very well in 1944. And we did all our cooking in South Compound. That was the only compound at that time. And there was a new barracks built, block number 7. And there were 8 of us volunteered to go over there and fill the mattresses with straw and everything. And I asked the guard, who was Tista, that we could move over there. He said, "No, you can't do that." I said, "Oh, Tista, we didn't have to do this. Let us move." And by gum, he did. And there were only 7 of us in one little room right next to a big water heater. And the restroom was big. Everything was new. And I worked on the coal detail. And at night, we took one of our lockers and made a shower out of it, cut a hole in it, and put a Klim can up there. And after everybody had gone to bed, I put 2 pieces of coal in under there and heated it up and poured it on everybody in our room. We didn't have any bed bugs because that was only that. But we did most of it, like I say, ourselves, and they had a seismograph machine that could tell where we were digging, but a couple of guys got in a fight one day, and we surrounded them and pulled up the seismograph.
Yeah. What was, looking back on this, Zach, what was the hardest part of that 18 months?
Okay, I had been to, the YMCA had sent musical instruments over to us, and there were a lot of guys there. Now, we were up around 5,000 or 6,000. We ended up with 9,500. But when I came from the concert, my co-pilot told me that what they heard was bad. They didn't count Jewish soldiers as Americans. And Geneva Convention said people of different nationalities lived in different barracks, and they didn't count us as Americans. That was in 1945. And we were going to go to Berga in Czechoslovakia, which was so-called work camp. But we were going for about 4 days in a row. And then they decided they're going to put us over in North Compound, of 150 of us. And the Russians had cut the territory off, and they couldn't take us. But most all of those from other camps who went there didn't exist anymore. And fortunate for me and my friends, we didn't have to go.
So, men died during that time?
Not too many passed away. We only had one man was a surgeon from England, and he did it. One guy had a appendix taken out, and what we did was heat him up with brick and a towel to keep him warm while he recovered. And if you had to fill your teeth, there was a bicycle drill and no Novocaine or anything. And to fill it, he used the lead from a Gillette razor. In fact, we made some things to put on you. The American deal for the Air Force were made out of those too.
Tell me, are you in a particular Stalag? Where were you at this time?
Stalag Luft 1.
1?
Uh-huh.
And where in Germany was this?
That's on the Baltic Sea, north of Berlin, between Kiel and Stettin.
And there were at one time 9,500 prisoners of war?
At the end,
Are these all airmen?
all air,
Holy smokes.
from everywhere. Now, they were from France, Australia, and some others from all the different countries. But everybody worked together. Only one time, well, 2 times. One time the Red Cross packages were coming, and out of our group, I think it was about 3 or 4, said they wanted that package, that they didn't get. See, we were cooking with it, the whole thing. We'd get 3 packages on Monday, 2 on Wednesday, and 2 on Friday. So that all went, but they said they wanted the D-bars, which they got. So we said, okay, let's everybody take his package. Well, by Thursday, they didn't have any food left. So we had to feed them. And they said, let's go back. And then another time, they picked on a boy who was smaller than me. And he was sitting by the heater we had, well, it was a cook stove too, on the coal. And he was getting all just smelly and everything. And they came to me and asked me to do something. Well, I said, if y'all don't if y'all promise me you won't pick on him, Kirby, I'll get him to have a bath tonight. So I told him. That was on a Saturday night. He took it. So at Sunday morning formation, he was shining. Everything was shining on him. And they didn't do it anymore. Didn't pick on him.
Were you guys a pretty close group? Was the camaraderie pretty high? I mean,
Oh yeah. I lived with a Catholic priest in my barracks. Father Charlton was a great man. And one day one of my buddies called and said to me, one that lived in my room, said, "Zach, you got one of yours here." I said, "Man, that'd be great to have another one with me in place of me being the only one who was Jewish." And I went up to see Father and told him that Rico, Americus Gentili, was Jewish, and Father said, "No, he's not, he's mine." And Rico and the German God worked in New York City on the corner selling gambling tickets for his daddy. And when the war started, he went back to Germany, see? So Rico was something. He could tell you about a ball game or something.
tell me about how your family was notified about you being missing or a prisoner of war. What kind of notifications?
Telegram.
But was it missing in action?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. They didn't know till December that I was a prisoner.
Prisoner or missing?
No, prisoner.
Okay.
No, the first one came missing in action. I have the originals of them.
So that was a pretty hard time for your family, wasn't it?
Yeah. But we talked. I mean, we didn't talk, but we wrote letters and so forth.
From the Stalag one, you could write letters and they'd send it?
Well, they limited to you so many and so many lines. You couldn't write between the lines. And the guy that did the drawings for me, my wife, he didn't send too many home, so I could put Frank Huff's name on it and get them gone. But for a while there, I didn't get any mail or any packages from home for about 3 or 4 months.
So tell me about the end of your time there and how you were liberated.
Okay. Since the Geneva Convention, Roosevelt and Stalin made was that the territory where we were to be taken by the Russians. And so the Americans couldn't come up and get us. They were about 60 miles away from us. So we waited. The Germans left, and the Russian prisoners left with the Germans because they would be killed by the Russians if they caught them. So we had already set up some guys to go out and meet the Russians, but the Russians caught them right away, brought them back, but the Mongolians came first on horseback and gave us 6 hours to be ready to go with them to Russia. His daughter had been taken when the Germans were fighting Russia, and that she was at a forced labor camp. That's the reason why he said we didn't do anything. So Colonel Zemke talked him out of it. And then we stayed another 3 days, and Marshal Zhukov's forces came. And they kept us for another week or more. They brought a USO show, so to speak, into us and brought a cow into it. One of the guys knew how to milk a cow. But we got all of our Red Cross packages before they came. But prior to that, there was no food hardly, rutabagas. And one day in the formation, the blackbirds